Hey everybody, welcome to Ask the Anabolic Doc with Dr. Thomas O'Connor, brought to you by his websites, anabolicdoc.com and metabolicdoc.com, both of which you can get your copy of his new book, America on Steroids and to Heal. Welcome, Doctor. How are you, sir?
Very nice. Beautiful day. Spring's coming.
How did you make out with that blizzard yesterday?
I tell you, Ron, it's getting tiring.
2 days ago.
I take out the mountain bike poodle. I have a poodle who's designed just a mountain bike.
What?
and I have a
genetically engineered?
Yes. He has fat bike. I have a fat bike and he has fat paws.
Oh boy.
And a fat head. We keep it the puff really nice and so I don't mind it, Ron, but I'm getting ready for South Florida.
Okay. Yeah. Can I ask how many inches of snow your area got?
Oh, not much. It's about 6 of wet, gnarly stuff.
6 inches. Well, I can't talk. We got about 18 here in my area.
Oh, my God.
About an hour north of me was the Champion with 25 inches of snow.
It's on. Boy, you guys got hammered this year out there in Boston.
Yeah. You know, we didn't break the record. 3 years ago was the record breaker. 4 years ago.
That's right.
We got 10 feet of snow in 3 weeks. But this was pretty good. We got a good amount. Did you have any questions from your own social media, or you want to get going with the MD readers?
This week we're so blown out. I have not even, embarrassingly to say, been online. I'm just flat out. So I have nothing I do apologize. I can't even get to the comments. So nothing, Ron, nothing.
You're a busy guy, Doc. I think people will give you a pass on this one.
Trying to hold up.
Okay, so I will get into the first question, and this actually came in right after we recorded the last episode, so we just missed the cutoff for last week's episode. He posts under the name of Lehner, Lehner Mag. So first off, thank you for the opportunity. I'm on TRT myself, 160 milligrams test E, 80 milligrams Monday and Thursday for 1.5 years now. Feel so much better. Since I'm also a bodybuilder, 5'10", 190 pounds, body fat 10%, I decided to raise the test to 500 a week for 16 weeks, then go back to TRT. I increased Arimidex to 0.5 milligrams twice a week. On TRT, he does once a week. My E2 is at 44 on the cycle with that dosage. On TRT, it was 31. Since test is now higher, I figured E2 could be a bit higher as well. No sides so far. Libido, erections, water retention, all good. I get my blood monitored regularly. Cholesterol, hematocrit, E2, thyroid, etc. also fine. I'd appreciate if you could answer the following questions. And there are two, so I'll give you them one at a time. First question for you, doctor, is, number one, how long would you advise should this blast phase during TRT regimen maximally last? As long as blood work is good, of course.
Wow. But, of course, the disclaimers are up, blast and cruise, right? Blast and cruise. I can't give a blessing in that, but guys do it. It's interesting that he's on TRT, and that dose he's on, those small doses, twice a week, that's perfect, by the way, people. Here's the learning. The take-home message is so many doctors don't understand intermuscular esters.
Right.
And they give that one big hit every month, or they give, or once every 2 weeks. Yeah. So, and again, I'm not ever here to put down doctors, but the truth is they don't understand the pharmacokinetics, of an ester, cypionate and anthate, not to mention propionate, succinon 250, and there's all sorts of combinations underground, as you know. Yeah. But so this guy's on little doses of test. Free, and he's keeping it, so he's keeping his levels, so they're basically there's no peaks and troughs, right? And he's feeling good. Now he's going to blast at up to what is 500, Ron. That's like a old-fashioned steroid level.
Yeah, that's nothing alarming at all these days.
It's not alarming. It's not alarming. 500. It's not alarming. But now the piece for me is the learning piece. I always have to give. I could talk forever on it. For you guys is the discrepancy between what you think is happening or what you feel, which is very important, and what could happen on the labs, and what do the labs look like. So the labs are going to look great in the beginning, but there's lag. There's a lag. So if you talk about red blood cells, you're going to stimulate an increase. It's called erythrocytosis and polycythemia. That's going to stimulate your red blood cells to go up. But when you look at the labs in the mid-cycle, it might not be fully up. But 2 months, 3 months down the road, Ron, you're going to see there's when the test goes down, and you look at the labs, the test could be super low, but your red cells could be super high. There's going to be lagging, right?
Yeah.
There's going to be lags. I see all these lags. So labs are important. I said lags, L-A-G-S, versus labs. So there's a lag in the labs. So this guy's doing a great job. He's wondering, can you blast up? And the truth is, he's trying to chase it with some Arimidex.
Yeah.
And otherwise, his other labs are good when he's on TRT. But if he went to the lab, if he went to the doctor and checked his testosterone on 500 milligrams, Ron, it could 2 or 3 days after injection, it would very easily say 1,800 or 2,000.
Wow.
So again, I'm not here to. It's just interesting. What can it do there's short term and long term, right?
Right.
Short term, short term is his sex is good. He said he's not bloated, he's not puffy, and he has no side effects, which is great. Cumulatively, over a long period of time, you have to ask, what can it do to the red blood cells, the arteries, his prostate, not to mention his breast, his gyno, his hair, and then sexual function later. There's a lag in the sexual function, right? Guys blast on test. They initially can feel great, Ron.
Oh, yeah.
Or they can feel like shit sexually.
Right.
Right? Am I right or wrong?
Yeah, absolutely. There's certain drugs that have reputations, trend, which you call the devil's juice. My training partner, Lagoon, he says that constantly. That's his catchphrase now. But but trend is notorious for the first month or so. I'm gonna.
Yes.
You're a sexual beast, and
yes,
everything with a vagina within 30 feet is like, argh. But then eventually it goes the other way, and Decadic and Trendic are very similar.
Trendic. So see the lag. There's a lag. There's all this lagging. So I guess the answer is he's blasting and cruising. It's not a huge dose, Ron. It's not what some other guys are doing. It's going to be interesting historically. How do you feel 2 or 3 months later? Do you keep the muscle? Do you enjoy it? And is it safe for you? I can't answer those questions. The Arimidex, though, everyone knows it, Arimidex is a straw. Well, people know that I have to be careful with what I say.
Yeah.
And these are powerful medications. So if he's checking estradiol levels, and there's different reference ranges. I'm working all over the world now, so I have to kind of look at these reference ranges and convert them. And then you'll see a normal range. Yeah. And so everyone's trying to keep it in normal range, but for what? And I'm not saying it's not important, but it's all over the board. And when you check it on that one day, and you're either going up or down on your cycle with all the other drugs, what is it going to be 2 days later or 2 weeks later? Trust me, all over the board. But the importance is your hair, your puffiness, your heart, gynecomastia, bitch tits. So guys use all these drugs for these things, and then they try to relate it to the labs. And my caveat is there may not be a relation with the labs, but it's very good to definitely look at the labs and keep them as normal as possible. And I think in the end of the day, I would tell the guy, yeah, you got to do what you got to do, but try to keep the blasting as low as you can and try to keep the cruising as straight as you can.
Now, just going back to what he's talking about here, you said there's a lag. So if his labs look good, say, I don't know how often, he didn't mention how often he's having the blood work done, but so if he's on a 16-week blast, let's just say he's being very, very cautious and getting blood work every 4 weeks during that. You wouldn't even see, tell me, would you see anything out of the ordinary?
Oh my God. If you're checking testosterone levels, they're going to be all over they're going to be super elevated. His estrogen levels are going to be super elevated. And if you're chasing numbers on paper with Arimidex,
yeah,
good luck. You can. I see guys do it. But then what is that going to do to your heart? Because check your HDL.
HDL.
You wait till you see the HDL tank. And again, if it's a short period and he has no heart disease, is that okay for him?
Yeah, I mean that's for him to decide, right?
I try to think cumulatively. And a cumulative man, that the forces, which are androgen forces, steroid forces, try to keep him to a down low. Just try to. I mean, but guys will do steroids. I get it. So in the end of the day, that's why if that man had a problem with red blood cells without testosterone, obviously testosterone would super elevate it, and that he would, and that's a smart man. He would be aware that, I got rip-roaring polycythemia. I better not do this. So good job. You're monitoring everything: your kidney function, liver function, red blood cells, blood pressure, and then of course look in the artery and see if you have some plaque in the artery. How old's this guy?
They said he was 44.
Okay.
No, he did not say his age. Actually,
I didn't think so.
No.
So is he, Ron? Is he 44 or 24? That's a big difference. And I mean, 24-year-old men are like freight trains. They can do anything. I mean, that's not good, by the way,
right?
Because the freight trains, they come to a stop, as we know, sooner or later, unfortunately.
They go off the rails, they crash.
I mean, they do run off rails. But when you're 44, you're probably going to have some plaque in the artery. And again, this is my whole day job. You're at risk of worsening the plaque and having a heart attack. The aromatase inhibitors are destructive to your HDL. Wait till you see this guy. If he checks the I don't think he mentioned lipid panel in there, which is okay.
No.
So if he checked the lipid panel during the increase in testosterone and the increase in chasing it with an aromatase inhibitor, if he checked his HDL, it is going to be diminished by 70%, 80%. From 50, it's going to be down into the 20s.
Wow.
So, and then it will come back up. And did it damage him? These are the questions, Ron.
Right.
No one knows. So blasting and cruising, I mean, blast as least as you can, cruise more.
Before I get to the second part of this question, you brought up a point that I wanted to ask about. You talked about, a lot of the doctors who prescribe TRT, they're not aware of the pharmacology, and they don't know about the half-lives and the peaks and the valleys. When I first got prescribed TRT a few years back with Dr. Morgenthaler, we tried the implants, the pellet implants.
Yeah.
And those seemed like an ideal situation for a sustained release, but I haven't heard about those being used in a long time. Do they fall out of favor?
Wow, Ron. Testopel.
Yeah.
So Testopel is certainly one viable means of replacing testosterone. It's a small, teeny little pellet that's inserted into the subcutaneous tissue in the rear end, up in the high glute.
Yep.
It's not. It's in the subcutaneous fat. They make a little slice in the skin and they put a trocar in and they insert it, and they're doing it more for women right now, Ron.
Oh wow!
All around Connecticut. I don't do it. It's for women, and they just bump up. So it does. Let's face it. It does increase testosterone depending on how many pellets. I mean, my opinion, it does work. A lot of men who like androgens, with or without doctors, they like the free testosterone, Ron.
Yeah.
This is some of the secret stuff here. People have to go through all my craziness to get the secret stuff. So
it's worth it.
If you study replacement testosterone data in a real clinic like mine, you'll see on esters of testosterone, Ron, you'll see a disproportional increase in free testosterone over total with esters. The man's brain feels better, no question, and probably is where the damage comes with anabolic steroid induced withdrawal syndrome in the man's brain, is because steroid users use cypionate, enanthate, succinate 250.
Yeah.
They're not using these little pellets. They're not bathing in androgen. They just inject stuff right. So
Sure.
with that, I've discovered this years ago. And Morgenthaler and I, we talked about this many, many years ago. He agreed. He knows. Any doctor that's involved, like I am with testosterone, they know this. But the general doctors, endocrinology general doctors who don't do this often, and the they have no idea about this. They have no idea that there's a disproportional increase with esters, intermuscular esters, T total versus free. And that leads a man's brain to feel fabulous. That different. And my guess is those pellets, they don't increase the free fraction as much as intermuscular esters do.
Wow.
That's it.
You know what happened to my pellets? I think I told you this, right?
No.
Yeah, they worked their way back out of my ass. It's crazy.
Oh yeah, they don't. Ron, a lot of guys don't like the pellets. I don't know. I mean, you know what men like, and if you don't have any young children, androgel can be good. Yeah. But most steroid users, their brain is so accustomed to this slightly higher, not to mention very high free testosterone. Yeah. So you got to work around that. It's hard to work around. Did you know that, Ron? The brain changes.
I did not know that, but
brain. And that's why
I used androgel and was not impressed at all. I used it probably for about 2 years. Yeah.
It's very interesting. Anecdotally, you'll see. I mean, I should probably do a study just in that one question right there. What do you like, sir? You've tried androgel, pellets, and injections. It's overwhelming that men enjoy the injections. And you know what? It's not because they're drug addicts and they want to inject. It's a matter of fact, it's a pain in the ass to inject.
Pain in the delt, pain in the ass, pain in the quad.
So they would much rather rub something on and be done with it, or put a pellet in their rear end, or not in the rear end, but in the skin every 3 months and be done with it.
Right.
There is a long-acting ester, as you know, called testosterone undecanate.
Yeah.
And that's cleared here in America, but no one's using it because you don't need to. Because the esters, the small dose of esters that this man's doing, work excellent.
Cool. All right, so let me get to the second part of his question. This is still a gentleman named Elaine or Mag. My TRT doc insists that I take a TRT break every 2 years for 3 months at least, as long as I'm under 40. Okay, now we got his age. Currently, he's 28, and still haven't decided that I never want kids. I'm not taking HCG regularly. I took it for 6 weeks at 250 E2 day, every other day. I don't know what that means. After 1 year of TRT, my doc is against it and won't prescribe it. Also for the break, he won't prescribe Nolvadex or HCG, just cold turkey. I'm planning on doing 4 weeks HCG again, 250 E2D. Every other is, I don't know what he's saying here.
No, you're right. Every other day.
Yeah, I usually put EOD, but anyway, followed by 4 weeks of Nolvadex at 2 weeks, 20 milligrams a day, 2 weeks, 10 milligrams, low dosages. So I won't have 3 complete shit months with low libido and muscle loss.
Wow.
What's your opinion on that? Would you advise against taking breaks at all, or if you do them with or without PCT?
Okay, I'm going to be very direct on this. The physician doesn't know the data. The physician is probably a good physician, but let's get right down to the brass tacks and the data here. When a man is on replacement androgen, either he's giving it to himself or he's getting it from a physician, his brain doesn't know the difference.
Right.
It's unethical to do that to him, and to stop it. And there's no data to support that it's going to readjust his hypopituitary gonad axis or increase and protect his fertility. So what should be done? And again, I'm not your doctor. You can have your doctor watch this. Hope he doesn't want to kick me in the teeth afterwards. He can give me a call if he wants. I mean, the truth of the matter is that if a man is on TRT, it's going to be for life.
Right.
And that's a risk. That is my risk. First of all, everyone I put on TRT needs it.
Right.
And then beyond that, I do use small concomitant doses of human chorionic gonadotropin, and concomitant in the medical word means we do it together.
Yep.
And the data, but there's no data for that either. But anecdotally, it does. I had a nice email today from another a patient of mine that just had his second child.
Hmm.
And what I did for him, what I do for most of my patients, he's in his 40s, he's been on steroids and with me, testosterone for say 5 years.
Hmm.
He's on a very small dose. He feels great. His sex drive's great. His heart's healthy. And he wanted to have a kid. He's 42. He's having a kid. Of course, I always warn him, are you sure you want to have this kid?
Yeah.
So he says, yes, doc, we want to do it. So I stopped testosterone completely, and I give him pretty good doses of human chorionic gonadotropin from 1,500 units to 2,500 units every other day. And his testosterone levels are elevated. He feels pretty good, not as good as he does on Cypionate, but he's able to get erections and have sex. And he apparently, right before he actually had she became fertile, he did go to, because the wife, of course, said, we're going to go to get your sperm analyzed. I don't believe you can be on testosterone at the same time and coming off within a month or two and have his sperm was, I think, I believe his sperm was 450 million per mil. Anything over about 15 to 30 million per mil. Can you imagine?
And he had 450 million?
Million per milliliter. Ron, we are not the brightest bulbs in the tree. A woman has one egg.
Yeah.
For every one egg, we have 400. We're not the brightest guys in the world.
Goodness gracious. Okay.
But that's the truth, and that's the miracle of life. So, with this said, I gave that man, I believe it was 2,000 units every other day for probably 6 weeks. I mean, and he's on a small dose of TRT with me for 5 years and worked great. So that's but I do have some patients that are on TRT and I give small hits like the 400 to the 500, and it's subcutaneously or intermuscularly, it doesn't matter. Okay. It just doesn't, it's bro science arguments, it's stupid. It just does not matter. You could take a small insulin syringe and drop it right into the top of the quad and do an IM injection of 500 IUs of HCG.
Okay.
Okay, so this is you have children, Ron, so you don't care.
Yeah.
But so I do this regularly. So it is, in my opinion, absolutely unethical to have a man suffer. You know he's going to suffer because he's going to tank, and he's saying he's going to give himself tamoxifen and all these other things. So he's going to go out into the streets and do that to himself
because the doctor wants
to. Is tamoxifen the right?
Yeah.
Anyway, so the truth is, sir, this is a good, at least I'm answering a direct question. Isn't that great? That's probably first time. I'm not going against, you're not my patient, sir. Your doctor is your doctor. And the truth of the matter is, any doctor, if I ever heard that from a doctor, which I hear things coming in, I absolutely disagree, because that doctor, he's not aware or she's not aware of the data that is proven that men that are on androgens long periods of time are going to go into a withdrawal.
Yeah.
And you're doing it for fertility? There's no support data.
I mean, is this the first you've heard of a case like this? Or
no, Ron, I hear this stuff. I'm not here to put doctors down.
I know you're not.
I'm not. I have to say it. I don't want these. I mean, all I do is men related to testosterone and steroids, and it's my whole practice is I'm overloaded.
Yeah.
So I've been doing this for years, and I take a very clinical, conservative approach. I use the data. We do have data on this. I told you, Harvard, Cleveland Clinic, men that use steroids are a very special, unique population of patients.
Yeah.
They need to be cared for properly. Giving a man testosterone, it's a steroid.
Right.
But you have to keep the doses safe and watch his body and his mind and his brain to stop him regularly. I've heard this over the years that doctors require, because that I believe came from the last 15 years, where they want to restart his natural hypo.
Then why are they on? Why are they prescribing him TRT? I don't understand.
There's no data. There's no, matter of fact, the data contradicts that and says as soon as you pull that man off his injection, within 3 weeks, 2 weeks, a month, check his labs. He's going to be super low.
Right.
How do you feel, sir? He's not going to be jumping for joy.
Right.
So, and will he come back up naturally? He may over 2 or 3 months. He may not, depending on him, how much he's been on, how old he is, what other medical conditions he has. All these other valuable information. Every man has a fingerprint. So why would you do that to a man? If you want him to maintain fertility, use HCG like I do.
Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, the thing that really puzzles me is if a doctor thought that a male patient was capable of, restoring his own function and producing sufficient testosterone at some point, if he gave enough time for that to happen, why would you even bother? Why would you prescribe TRT until you had determined one way or the other whether
Ron,
they were ever going to get their function back?
Ron, perfect. It's common sense to me. And what I spend all this time with patients when they first come in, we're determining one thing. Do they need testosterone? And if they need testosterone, I say there's a trial period. First of all, 90% of guys come to me already on testosterone for years. There's no need to pull them off. You need to check the levels, make sure you understand what they're on, do a very detailed assessment of their health, prostate, heart. And then you need to come down to an agreement to the levels that you're going to keep them on. Mm-hmm. And they go away and okay, doc, thank you. But to have a patient on steroids or testosterone for years, this is, Ron, I've brought us and other physicians to a place now in our society that when a man is on testosterone and steroids for years, I'm telling the doctors, don't pull him off.
Yeah.
You want to wean him? There's ways to wean.
Right.
But if you pull him off, he's at risk of massive depression and suicide. Mm. Why would you do it?
Yeah. Well, I also want to ask, I mean, you've come across so many cases, talked to so many patients, and I don't want to, again, I don't want to throw any doctors under the bus either, but I know patients can be very persuasive at times, and they can use certain tricks. Do you think a lot of cases such as this, I mean, this guy's only 28, are there a lot of TRT prescriptions being written around the USA that maybe are not 100% justified?
Wow, Ron. Wow. Woo, what a question, buddy. Woo, you're trying to get me.
Open a can of worms, yeah.
I think that's a can of worms question.
Yeah.
Boy, we're going to have a good following, huh, Ron? I think the answer is yes.
Yeah.
I won't identify where. I think it's pretty clear, a couple of concentrations in the United States of where it's happening.
Yeah.
And it's none of my business. It's not what I do. Right. But the truth of the matter is when a man comes in again and he doesn't understand in the beginning, that's why I want to keep all young guys, don't ever do steroids if you don't know what you're in for. Hmm. You're going to be on steroids and testosterone forever.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And they look at you like, well, and then other guys, within 2 seconds, you see the look in the eye. I understand that. Well, they've been doing it for years, and they can't come off. And now they're coming in because they're concerned. I mean, but unfortunately, there's doctors are probably trying to help, but there are doctors that are just trying to sell.
Well, like services. I'm not going to put it on the doctors either, because I'm sure I've known plenty of bodybuilders, obviously, and we're very tricky, crafty people at times. So I know guys will do tricks like they'll go off, they'll do a big cycle, they'll go off, and that's when they'll go to the doctor a month later and say, "Oh, doc, I think I might need TRT," and this is when their levels are in the shitter, and the doctor sees that, and a lot of doctors, I think, they'll go off that one result. And
but Ron, hold on.
Yeah.
I'm an expert in this one, I can tell you that.
Okay.
So if a man's on steroids, 23, 33, I mean, the 16-year-old guys are just killing me now.
Oh, God.
But they're out there. I know. And more and more. And thanks a lot, Boston Lloyd. Thanks a lot, buddy.
Hey, I didn't say it.
So, and I did say it. And everyone knows it's true. Because social media is very seductive. and he's very seductive.
Yeah.
And it is what it is. So shame on him. But that's how the world works. So it is what it is. So men come in, 24-year-old, 44-year-old men, they come in, they've been giving themselves injections of steroids from 400, 200 to 2 grams. They're on a boatload of more. They're on a boatload of other drugs. They come to you, Ron, after a month off of steroids, the levels are down to single digits.
Yeah.
Ron, the funny thing is, of course, I check everyone. You have to check everyone. Either guys are super high because they're on tons and I got to bring them down, or they're super low. Yeah. And if a guy did one cycle, if he's at the end of his 4th week, and his levels actually won't tank so much on a little bit of steroids, they'll bottom out pretty quickly and stay stable. I've seen it. So, but the guy that's on suppressive steroids, Ron, for years, 2 or 3 years, that's the guy that bottoms out. And why is he going to the doctor? He doesn't need the doctor. He's never going to get the levels. Well, I would hope he wouldn't get the levels that he really may want. Right. So those guys, Ron, those guys, they just keep getting it from the street. They just keep getting it on their own. If a guy's going to the doc and he has super low levels after a month, here's how you take care of that one.
Yeah.
You tell the guy, you assess, what have you been on? How long have you been on it? Where are you coming from? Number one. Number two, where are we going with this? Do you want to, I call it taking the training wheels off. Do you want your own brain to come back? If you want your own brain to come back, you're done. Don't ever touch anything. And then this whole game of tamoxifen, Clomid's poison now.
Jeez.
Clomid's poison. Tamoxifen, HCG, and the Clomid cycle. I mean, PCT. There's no, go ahead, go nuts. We could try to, you could try to help with Clomid.
Yeah.
Steroid users who use, I'm gonna shoot a video in about a week now about what I see now with steroid users using Clomid.
Okay.
I've seen near suicides.
Wow. What is your YouTube channel again, Doctor?
Metabolic Doc.
Anabolic Doc. Check it out, guys.
So well, that's we're changing some of these. That's my website. Go to my social media on that. So you'll go to the Metabolic Doc and you'll go to the social media and you'll see my YouTube channel on that. So if a man wants to be off steroids, and bring his brain and his testicles back together, stay off testosterone, buddy. And if you haven't done that much and you're going to reconnect anyway, you'll reconnect. You will reconnect pretty quickly within 2 months.
Yeah.
If you don't reconnect, Ron.
Yeah.
Many men don't reconnect. It's called anabolic steroid induced hypogo. Ron, I wrote a book on it.
I know.
At least a chapter. A couple. So, and you know, Ron, you know what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So there's millions of men, but can you catch a man early enough before he's caused permanent damage to his testicles and brain?
I don't know.
That's the question.
Oh.
So I tell guys, don't do it. And if you do it, you're playing. It's okay. You're playing with fire. You may be on testosterone. Ron, business is good. And I'm not being funny. You're laughing, but
no.
It's a rhetorical laugh.
Yeah.
But the truth is, look, man. Docs. I thought you were going to say they fool the doctor. That's not fooling the doctor. That doctor is seeing the guy he's completely demolished.
Yeah.
Okay, that's not fooling you know what's fooling the doc? I shouldn't tell you. Guys, I've seen this. No one pays me money and bullshits me. Why would a guy come in and pay me money? I'm pretty expensive too, according to Boston Lloyd.
Well, I would imagine.
I'm expensive, Ron.
I don't know what your rates are, but
so this is douchebagisms.
Okay.
Douchebagisms. Ron.
All right. Yeah.
The truth of the matter is this. Men don't come in and pay me because they're pissed off and suffering and they're scared. They want help. Okay, a man uses steroids who's feeling great and just doesn't care, stays in the streets.
Mm-hmm.
There's more of them than there are in my practice.
Absolutely.
But the truth of the matter is, if a man wants to fool a doctor to show a low number, he doesn't have to do it because he doesn't even want that doctor. He just go get it from the street.
True. Well,
So,
I'm going to tell you, maybe you never considered this part of it because you are in the thick of it, but I don't think you know the conniving ways of the meathead the way I do. It's
tell me.
Guys will do this and try to trick doctors into writing them prescriptions because even though they get stuff off the street, the quality is always so suspect. William Llewellyn, he sells a testing kit that'll tell you what your steroid is, but I don't believe it tells you the actual dose, correct?
It's true, Ron. You have no idea what the quality is.
So guys will go to doctors hoping to get TRT because they know they pick up that bottle from Walgreens or Costco or CVS, and that's 200 milligrams in everything. The shit we're buying, I don't know if I'm injecting 1 milligram or 250 or who knows. So they're doing it for a reliable source. Okay. Yeah, even though they're getting a small amount.
So that was a good conversation because I'm thinking, yeah, okay, you're right. Because they want quality gear. They want quality testosterone. Yeah. I can't call them crazy. I mean, I understand. Who doesn't want that? Yeah. So the other thing, what some guys I've heard, I don't think I've ever seen this, but guys will inject Depo-Provera. They'll inject progesterone.
So birth control?
And yes. And it just tanks their so they do that. And have I seen that? I mean, I have to see legitimate testosterone numbers, Ron. So I just don't know. I've heard that, but I mean, when guys come in, Ron, I assess these guys. They're not bullshit guys. No. They're like, Doc, I've been following you for a couple of years. It's time for me to come in.
No. I mean, I don't think anyone's going to try to pull a fast one on the Anabolic Doc. You know what I mean?
No one. I tell them, I go, no one's going to bullshit the Anabolic Doc. Not possible.
Let me get to another question if I can. We're getting into something we've talked about before. But Davey 1010 wants your opinion on dietary cholesterol. For instance, is it bad eating X amount of whole eggs a day or eating beef liver, which is high in cholesterol? So you deal with the heart every day, you're 9 to 5. Yeah. Dietary cholesterol, what impact does it have?
Okay, so there's some things, I'm going to make it so it's not boring anymore. So change. So cholesterol and fats, some doctors don't care anymore. So, and that whole myth of cholesterol, which guys are going to love me now, right, is that it's in part a fallacy. There's, if you want to look at, it doesn't mean statins don't work. It means that there's multiple things going on. And I would agree that inflammation of the artery that's multifactorial and that is it's an end of multiple factors is very important, but it's the end of factors. But the most important factor, probably more important than fats, cholesterol fats, is sugar.
Sugar is the enemy.
But it's true though, Ron. So I have cardiologists. I have this Dr. Brett Nolan, who's a brilliant lipidologist. I'm looking at his office. He's brilliant. He's my go-to cardiac. He's saying more and more, we don't care about fats. We care more and more about sugars. So he's kind of liberating people and saying you could have saturated animal fats like beef. I'm still an old school guy that I feel probably saturated animal fats. The eggs are okay, by the way. Now I think we've proven the egg is out of jail now. I mean the egg is running free, and you can a free range.
Free range eggs. That's what I get. Cage free. That's what I get.
Cage free eggs. So those are eat your eggs, but you may see your LDL go up. It's a good question, Ron. So I think fats are kind of out now, and but it won't be long where they're going to be put back in jail again. And so I think in the end, Ron, try not to eat I'll tell you this though, animal fats and beef and saturated animal fats, higher level for colon cancer.
Oof.
So I mean, pick your poison, guys. I mean, in the end of the day, I try to live. You know what? I'm not a liberal, Ron. I'm not a liberal.
Okay.
But I try to live. I try to live like a vegan. I try to live like a tree hugger. I try to live like all these. I try to live so I don't take an animal fats at all. Plant-based And the joke was, guys come in, they say, Doc, you're like a liberal now. You're running around like a tree hugger. What are you doing? So the truth is, you want to live on a plant-based diet, because those studies have shown that people just live the longest.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so they have the saturated animal fats are very low, plant-based proteins. It's just a better way to live. But the data is always changing, Ron. So people don't, and people, you can't really say it's one thing. So the fats are okay, but I would tell the guy, you don't want to be living on animal fats as much as, more than maybe twice a week, once or twice a week.
Can I ask you, how much animal protein you take in a day?
I have red meat maybe once a week now. I used to eat it every day. I mean, almost every other day, right? I don't know. I mean,
chicken, fish, turkey, things
chicken
like that?
Twice a week, and then I really try to go every couple of days by having no meats at all, and but I have I know it's ugly, but I try to have but a little bit of pasta. But Ron, I'm on the metformin, regimen. So my A1C has gone from 5.6, which is like just on the edge of pre-diabetic, down to 5.0. And I actually eat at night more carbohydrates than I've had in the last 2 years because of metformin.
Okay.
So metformin is, again, that's the whole shift that a lot of people in the real anti-aging community are looking at, is metformin and glycemic indexes. Okay. And again, the plant-based diet, because overall it's a healthier. There's something with animal saturated fats. Ron, I love animal. I just love. Who doesn't love bacon? And
it's delicious. It's delicious.
There are some people that don't, though, Ron. I characterize that.
Yeah.
So, but the truth is that it's dangerous, though, and there's some inflammation. There's some insult to the body from animal proteins, apparently.
I don't know why that would be if we evolved as a species eating animal proteins, which we did.
But Ron, we die, though. But see, so that paleo, but then you'll die.
Well, I think a Paleolithic man, the average lifespan was like 26.
That's what I'm talking about. So we did evolve. What you're saying is right, and then we die. So people live the longest, everyone to know, plant-based diets and caloric restriction. But Ron, there's no way we're going to stay big and strong being calorically restricted.
No. Okay. We saved the best for last, Doctor.
Okay, let's go.
The all-star of this show is Swaminator.
Oh.
So here we go. Swaminator says, this is purely anecdotal, but I want to hear your opinion on my belief. I believe that high-intensity interval training, HIIT, is actually bad for the health of your heart. It is good for performance, but bad for health. I have 4 friends in their 40s who have suffered heart attacks in the past 2 years. 2 were on TRT, 2 were not. The only thing they had in common was they engaged in HIIT/CrossFit style workouts. I believe that purposely ramping your heart rate up to maximal levels on a daily basis will eventually damage your heart. I liken it to lifting. If day in and day out you go into the gym and push or pull 90% of your 1 rep max, eventually you're going to pull a muscle, tendon, or blow out a joint. I think the same is true with the heart. If you are revving it up numerous times a week, eventually you're going to suffer heart damage. Another example, my Ford Explorer has a speedometer that goes up to 120 miles per hour. Sure, it can go that fast, yeah. But if I consistently drive it at max speed, eventually the engine will blow. Max heart rate is a fight or flight mechanism designed to be achieved during life-threatening situations. Running your engine or heart on the red line frequently has consequences, and those consequences could lead to a heart attack. Doc, I'm not sure what the science says behind my belief, but it seems to make sense. Your thoughts?
Swaminator, this guy is going to get it. We have to give an award. There's some kind of a Ask the Anabolic Doc series, award series that has to come up. Like,
the golden heart, the golden left ventricle.
It has to be, Ron. We'll do it in Boston. Okay. We'll get there. We'll get there. So this guy's on. Are you a lawyer, Swaminator? This is a bright guy, huh?
Yeah.
But I'm worrying about Swaminator? He's around a lot of guys that are dying from heart disease.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
I'd be looking around if that was me.
What's going on up there, man? And this is up in Ontario. I got a lot of guys in Canada.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the truth is, Swami, is that you're based on the evidence, you're wrong. Because the evidence-based medicine from the cardiology world clearly supports that high-intensity interval training is better for the heart than the old-fashioned standard plateau chronic aerobic work. There's multiple. I mean, if you really want to challenge me, I guess I could come up with the citations for you, or you can just Google high-intensity interval cardiovascular studies, and you'll see that they're there. And this came out a couple years ago, and I know that there's German studies and Japanese studies on men that have heart disease that trained high-intensity interval training type, and they had healthier endothelial. That's the artery tissue after, because the nitric oxide levels were better, and so it provides for better elasticity of the heart. Here's what I think is happening. If you look for the data for this, it's exercise physiology data too. So anyone you know that's an exercise physiology major, they're going to know this. So that's someone to ask. And when you look for the heart in your training, there's an age-predicted max heart rate, right?
Yeah.
It's 220 minus your age.
Right.
That's always been. And then we take that. Remember in the gyms, those little training zone, and it shows 65 and 80%. So that's your aerobic training. And then when you get your heart rate into that zone, you should stay there for 25 minutes. There's data for that too. That's the old data. And then at that point, what happens is your blood vessels, they dilate, they open up, and then all these good things happen to that endothelial tissue that in the post period, you have lower resting blood pressures, lower resting heart rates, and metabolically, your body's just in a trained state, right? Better heart, your sugar levels are better, you're burning fat when you're up in that zone, right?
Yeah.
So we've known this. So that was kind of the standard of care. Years ago in the exercise physiology, the high-intensity interval training stuff came in, and it showed for prevention studies and studies of people with heart disease that it just did better than standard training. Now, to his degree, there's other things going on, Ron. These poor men, these other guys, there's multiple factors that lead to heart disease. They're starting the interval training too late. And the interval training itself, if you train very, very hard and you have unstable plaque, you could have a heart attack. So the interval training really is when you bring your heart rates up for a minute or two, then down for 30 seconds, a minute or two, the classic Hiit. What that does is your arteries they're taking a beating. Yes, there's a fine line between taking a beating and getting a benefit from destruction. It is true. So it's unlike that. Unlike your car, taking it out, you're going to rev it up. You're going to destroy that. Your car is fixed. Your arteries are elastic and live. They respond. They respond to that stress, and you get a positive response with endothelial improvement. Okay. And that's what Hiit does. But again, you want to do it, and I think Hiit. For me, I just feel so much better. It's first of all, it's short and sweet. You can do 15 minutes, 10 minutes. Yeah.
No, I've always that's what appealed. When I used to do my cardio for shows, the appeal for me was I could do 30 minutes that style HIIT and burn 700 calories, and that would take me an hour or an hour plodding along at a steady state. So for people that have shit to do in life, HIIT makes so much more sense.
But isn't cardio boring, Ron? Isn't it so boring though?
I can't stand it. Don't like it.
So it's just, I don't know. So Hiit's excellent. Swami, you gotta go. You have a good doctor, Swami. I think you're actually doing great. I don't think these guys have the medical care that you have.
Yeah. And like you said, probably pre-existing conditions, damage that was already there that they probably were not aware of. Yeah, it sounded a little preposterous to me, but I'm glad that you have the evidence and you've actually read all the studies.
I want everyone to go to a doctor, have blood pressure checked, have your cholesterol checked, have your sugars checked, hemoglobin A1C, prostate. Right there. I just said it for you. Get those things checked. Yeah. Even if you're 25, it should start at 20, 25. If you have bad genetics for cholesterol, you'll see it in your 20s. If you have a family history, for men that have a family history, if any man has a family history of a dad that had a stent placed or a bypass surgery before the age of 60, that's a family history. So that's a man that is going to be, again, the apples don't fall far from the tree. So that man needs to pay attention to his heart health, blood pressure, cholesterol, sugar, and you'll avoid bypass surgery, stents, you'll avoid heart attacks because it takes years and years for that plaque to build up.
Okay. Well, I want to commend you because I'm going to tell everyone you had no time to prepare for this. You didn't get to even look at the questions beforehand. This was all off the top of your head on the fly, so this goes to show you.
Thank you, Ryan.
You pulled it off.
It's so fun, guys. I love it. I want to build it up more and more, Ron. We got some social media. I hired a new social media team.
Oh, right on.
So you'll see some good stuff. We got some trailer stuff. I have someone's coming in April for a big documentary. I don't want to say yet. I get that person that's coming in. The book is selling really well. And America on Steroids: A Time to Heal. We're definitely going to set up some time to get out there. So public talks. We're opening up Fort Lauderdale right now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and patients keep coming in, and I'm doing consults all over the world. All over the world. Yesterday, Colombia and Ontario, Canada, Kuwait, London, UK, Australia. It's so fun, buddy. It's just all over America. Guys, too far from the doc. How can you be too far? I got guys coming from Kuwait. At least we do the Skype, right. Our consults, and it's awesome, man. The guys they're great questions. We get labs done all over the world. And they tell me the stories, Ron. These guys confidentially tell me what's going on.
Well, I mean, with all that going on, furthermore, I appreciate you taking the time every Thursday to sit here and chat with me for the MD forum members and anybody that can check it out on YouTube. I mean, this is information that really needs to get out there. There's a lot of myths, a lot of misinformation, and just, we just don't know. Most gear users, former and present, we just don't know what the hell we're doing or how to take care of ourselves. So.
Well, you guys, Steve Blackman, I know, Steve's out there, and you guys are putting forward. You're having me do this. You're sponsoring me and allowing me. You guys have balls to do that.
Yeah, well, so far, so good. Let's keep it going. Good. All right, so make sure to check out Dr. O'Connor's websites, anabolicdoc.com, metabolicdoc.com, and of course, you've got to pick it up. America on Steroids: It's Time to Heal. This has been another amazing edition of Ask the Anabolic Doc with Dr. Thomas O'Connor. Thanks for watching.